All right. Welcome everyone to Scareticulus. So, um, if this is your first time here, please like the channel, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are here to discuss and debunk every Stu clue in Scream 7. I have invited a guest to the panel for this stream, and that is Horror.
Hey, thank you for having
Hi.
me.
Yep. Welcome to the channel. It's your first time here, first time on panel.
It
Um,
is.
so you tell us a little bit about yourself and what channel you run and stuff.
So my name's Em. I run the channel called Horror, where I discuss all kinds of theories, everything to do with horror, and I'm a massive fan of Scream. So I do have a special segment for that on Sundays, which I call Ice Cream Sunday. I am not the biggest Stu believer out there, as you know, so it's going to be quite
Yep.
a fun little chat, I think.
Fun chat, yes. So I also interacted with another person who doesn't believe in the stew stuff. He's quite outspoken about it. Like you'll see him comment in places. And I think I'm gonna have a conversation with him on Friday because he couldn't make it here tonight. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, so that should be fun. I think we're probably gonna discuss more general stew clues for that one. I think this one's just for Scream 7. Your mic is turned up really fucking loud. I'm gonna reduce it a
Oh,
little
I'm
bit.
sorry. Sorry. That's probably my
Sorry.
issue. I do apologize.
That's fine. Okay. Yeah, there's her channel. If you guys would like to sub to Horror, that's her channel. I found her in the Scream space when I started making a lot of Scream videos. Basically, I just had like some Scream videos hit, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna start making some Scream videos. So that's what I did. And I kind of picked up some acquaintances along the way, but I never made any content with any of them until just now. So I'm not the most like collaborative person. I'm more kind of do stuff on my own for the most part these days. But in the past I used to put on like lots of panels and stuff like that. I don't do that very much anymore. Honey Bunch is also, she's my girlfriend. She's part of my channel. And Witchy Nicole. I have a lot of loyal followers who follow my streams and stuff. Gloria, she's been with me for a long time. AC9, we're kind of from another community, to be honest. We a little more drama centric stuff, but I try to keep it separate. Chris says, do you think Stu will be back actually alive in the flesh and Scream 8, or just a flashback or AI again?
Interesting. First of all, is my mic okay now?
Sounds good. Are you snapping because what are you trying to
Yeah, I'm just trying to make it, just trying to test it. I'm using a different headset, so I do apologize for that.
All right.
I personally don't think we're going to get Stu back again, if I'm perfectly honest with you, in any way, shape, or form. And I think it would be a very silly move if they did do that, personally.
Yeah. I hate to be a copycat, but I have to mirror that sentiment. I don't think he's going to come back in the next one. I think a lot of people are using his appearance in Scream 7 to somehow indicate that he will come, that this means, oh, now he's got to come back for the next movie. I think the opposite. I think this was their move. This was it. This was them bringing Stu back. Whether you like it or not, whether you liked his appearances or not, that was it. And even that was a very like hesitant move. So unless like some miracle happens, which you have to understand with this, the whole reason Stu even came back in the first place, I think is in large part due to Guy Busick, the writer, who inserted all these Stu clues in Scream 5 and 6. And that's what basically led to Scream 7 and his role in that movie. I think, because here's the thing, Stu clues before 5 and 6 were more like incidental. They're like little Easter eggs, like mentions of Stu. but they weren't like real, clues that meant like, oh, he's coming back, or like he's somewhere in the background doing, you know what I mean? Like in Scream 3, you can have little clues, or Scream 2
Mhm.
a little bit, or Scream 4, there's some hints of Stu. There were mentions of Stu, right?
Yeah.
But none that would indicate, oh, he's somewhere in the background, like doing machinations. Only in Scream 5 and 6 did they really start to like. I mean, it's really not the fans' fault. I'm not blaming Stu fans, by the way, for this. A lot of this has to do with Guy Busick, Radio Silence. They put all this stuff in the movies for you guys to pick up on. So there's going to be way more Stu clues in Scream 5 and 6 because that's how they wrote the movies. They deliberately teased the fans with mentions of Stu, So
I completely agree with that. Really do. It's very. I think it's definitely more like a fan service thing that they brought him back
yes.
in Scream 7. And to be honest with you, I don't always think that works. And I think that's the way Stu was presented in 7 is a prime example of that not working. For
Yeah,
me,
I
anyway.
agree. No, yeah, and you're also invited to Friday too if you'd like to come. I
Oh,
didn't know
bless you.
the scheduling was, he just couldn't make it tonight, so I opted to do another one on Friday as well. But you can come to that one as well. I think that's what time is that going to be at? Like 5, like 5 in the afternoon, my time. So
Okay, so it'd be like 9 o'clock here, so that's not too bad.
yeah, I think that's good. Hey Dylan, Stu is my heart. Zombie Stu. Yeah, it's nice to meet new people. So, why do you guys think it didn't work to bring Stu back? Well, I don't think it worked to bring Stu back because they didn't go the full mile with it. Like, okay, my opinion on this whole Stu thing in Scream 7 is a bit complex because I don't think they should have brought Stu back at all. Like, I don't think he should have been part of this story that they were telling. It just doesn't make a lot of sense with the story they were trying to tell. But if you're going to bring Stu back, bring Stu back. You know what I mean? Like, just do it. Like, just have the balls, have the cojones to just fucking own it and bring him back, Otherwise, you look like you're chickens. Like, you're afraid to really, make the move. It's like they made a move that was safe, where it's like, oh, Stu came back, but not really. Like, it just feels like an overly safe like thing that they did instead of just taking a chance. Like, let's just say, okay, do it. Just say he was alive. Okay, he somehow survived 30 years or whatever. Go for it. Just go for it. Exactly. Go big or go home. They decided to go somewhere in the middle, and I think that's why it kind of ended up pleasing nobody.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think if like this is their last chance really to sort of bring him back in any way, shape or form. And the fact that I mean, I'm like you, I've never wanted Stu to really come back. I love him. He's my second favourite killer. But to have him come back was just always felt off with me. But like you said, because the part of the fandom that wants him back alive, nobody wanted him back as AI. Nobody wanted him
Exactly.
back in the form that they brought him back. So it seemed pretty pointless in doing so.
Yeah. Yeah, and they really thought they were clever with it too. They're like, we think we made a really good way to bring him back. We think the fans are gonna like it. The fact that they thought that shows just how like tone deaf Scream 7 was. Like, they truly had no clue that they were gonna piss off that many people.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely quite like the movie, but my biggest issue with it is that part, and I can't seem to warm up 100% to it. And
So
I think
you liked Scream 7.
I do. I think it's better than 5 and 6, and at the moment I'm ranking it above 3 because
Okay.
I genuinely I just enjoyed it. I've
You enjoyed
enjoyed
watching
seeing
it.
Yeah, I've enjoyed seeing Sydney come back. I think we got one of the best versions of Gale that we've had in a very long time. And that to me really made the movie. but it's this AI Stu concept that I can't warm up to at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there were a lot of weaknesses with the movie. The whole Stu plot line was very underdeveloped. They cut out a lot of stuff. Did you see that one video where they apparently cut out the part where Jessica was pretending to be Leslie Mocker to try to impress Marco and Carl?
I haven't seen that, no.
I just saw that yesterday. I was like, oh, that would have made so much more sense, and that's why people were saying
Mm,
she was Leslie Mocker. And this was a, I guess, a leak, leak bit of info that
right.
some leakers were saying that she was going to be like a Leslie Mocker, but only pretending. And I remember hearing that rumor like back in December, and I was like, I don't know if that's going to happen. It might happen, but then it didn't. And then it's like, wait a
Mm,
minute, did they cut that out? Like that was part of the movie, and they're just like, let's just cut that detail out. Because if you think about it, putting that in the movie would actually make way more sense. Because
mhm.
what is her connection to Marco and Carl? Why did they burn down Stu's house? What is with the Stu connections at all? And the only way it would make sense is if Jessica was pretending to be Leslie Mocker, and that was her in to kind of get in them with these guys while also manipulating Sydney, right?
It would have made a lot more sense than
Yeah.
what we got. I like Jessica as a killer, but I don't feel like any of the killers had as much meatiness in their storylines that they should have had.
Yeah, for sure. Carl was, I mean, were they trying to top themselves with like the least impactful ghost face ever? Like, I mean, listen, he was running around doing crazy shit in the house, but we never knew Carl. We
No,
never ever got to hear him talk real. I think, what did he say in the beginning to Sydney?
I don't even think he said anything. I think he just gave her a look.
He just grabbed his cup. He's like, thanks. And then he just left.
Yeah, weird.
I mean, that they're even like Jason and like the guy, what was his name? Greg in Scream 6. Like, even they got ousted out of the least effective ghost faces category. Like, now it's Carl.
Yeah, there was no need for Carl. I think they just wanted to do the three killer thing again, which you could have just had
Yeah.
so much more substance to two killers if you hadn't have had Carl in it.
It's just, there's just so much to that movie that I feel like, and the red herrings were
Mm.
bad. Like, no one felt like a real suspect. It just felt like, okay, that person's gonna get picked off, obviously. They're not getting developed at all. One thing I thought was weird, just in terms of like the movie, that you can tell this movie was chopped up a lot. Like the one
Mm.
part with McKenna Grace where she's like, okay, you ready for the party tonight? Like, it's going to be really fun. You think there's going to be a party scene later, right? But no, she gets murdered in the theater. And it's like, why did you set that party thing up if you weren't going to do it?
Yeah, it's. I mean, from what I've heard about the writing, it was Kevin Williamson, and I think you can actually definitely see this in Seven. Kevin
Mm,
Williamson was focused on Sydney, her relationship with Mark, her daughter, and Gail, and that was about it. Guy
yeah.
Busick was in charge of the writing of everything else, and you can see the difference in that. That these little one-liners that were coming in that just seemed to be placed quite randomly kind of ruined the characters more than added to them.
Mm,
And you didn't have as much build up in some characters that you could have had to have made even their deaths a little bit more impactful, because McKenna Grace's death, a great death, but you can't
mhm.
feel for her as much because you don't know her.
You don't know her at all. If they did more with her, if they let's say they had that party scene, you got to know her character more, and maybe there was like they were playing with the red herring thing, making you think, oh, maybe she's one of the killers, and then she gets killed later on in the movie. You know what I mean? Here's something I also
Mm,
felt was weird about this movie. I felt like they should have had more scenes. Like, there's so little. Like, when you think about how much actually happens in this movie, there's not a lot that actually happens scene wise. Like, it's very short in terms of what scenes are happening in the movie. Like, it's basically the Stu house burning, then we're at Sydney's house, daughter's going to school, friend gets murdered, then there's a whole, thing that happens where there's a difficulty with the cops, and the ghost face is running amok. They go down to the bar. You know, she gets chased through town by Ghostface. Then she gets kidnapped, and it's like then the movie's over. Like just basically describe the whole movie in like 6 scenes, right? I mean, I'm probably leaving out a bit, but you get the idea. Like it's such a short movie in terms of what's actually happening. And I feel like that the previous movies had so many more things happening, so many more events that were taking place. And this movie is like, I don't know, it just gets going, and then the pacing,
it's very quick.
Like it just goes very quick, and then the movie's over.
Yeah, there wasn't many parts in it where you like. For me, in 6, there were too many parts that dragged. But in 7, you didn't get any parts that
Right.
felt like they were dragging. It was the complete opposite with pace. So I do get your point there.
Yes. Hey, Jody. Yeah, it's just the pacing was all off. The writing was all off. The red herrings were off. The Stu stuff was underdeveloped. The Jessica stuff, oh my God. Very underdeveloped stuff. Thank you, Let's Get Stupid, for the $10. Really excited to be learning so many new things about Scream tonight. I appreciate it a lot. Well, thank you very much. Let me play a little clip.
She said everybody dies but us. Everybody dies but us. We're gonna carry on and plan the sequel, because let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
Gotta have
one of the best scenes.
Yeah, it's a good scene, you know, and that's a scene where they really got to choose some scenery, right? With that scene. What does Jessica get in Scream 7? Like 2 minutes?
Yeah, she's got very, very little time for development. I did see about Anna Camp saying that she suggested that Jessica needed another scene to get some sort of backstory.
She pushed to have more stuff put in the movie. They'd be like, don't you think I should have more than one scene in the movie that introduces me as a character?
And then it was just like that flipping scene outside of Sydney's house with Gail, which actually is one of the moments that I, again, didn't actually enjoy as much in the movie.
Something went from too much, not enough, instead of finding a good medium. Yes, well, also this movie was directed by someone who hasn't directed a movie since the 90s. So there's that. I'm sorry. A lot of people can blame Guy Busick, but Kevin Williamson, he had a writing credit. And I'm sorry, but the director has a lot to do with how the final movie comes out. Like, he's in charge of a lot. He can choose to add scenes and, like, you know, mix things around and stuff. Like, directors have a huge amount of sway in the final product. So I'm going to blame that over the script.
There's equal blame everywhere. I do agree with
that.
There's
equal blame. Did you bring any Stu clues with you?
I do have a few Stu clues that I've come across from people.
Here's what I was thinking of doing. Okay, you can read a Stu clue, and then I can read a Stu clue, and we can kind of just go back and forth like that. And here's a little metric we can do instead of just outright saying, "Ah, that's stupid, that's bullshit." We could like label certain Stu clues certain things.
Okay.
Like I'm thinking if it's evidence that seems compelling, like this actually means Stu is alive, or Stu is like there's something to this, we can call it compelling, like in terms of evidence, right? Fourth, Stu clues that are not compelling, what would you suggest?
Oh God. I don't know. You put me on the spot. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm crap. I'm not gonna lie. I'm crap at thinking of stuff like that sometimes.
You know, it's funny. I had a word for this before. I just forgot it. It's basically, I'm just thinking like, you know, the opposite of compelling, like something that's, I don't know.
Let's get this. Like unconvincing, uncompelling.
Yeah, or weak, inconclusive.
Weak. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, weak, I think.
Weak, I think, is a good one.
Weak works. Yes, we got weak and compelling. What about undecided? For, you know, if we just can't decide on one.
Mystery. Let's just call that one a mystery.
Mystery. Okay. Cool. All right. So, let's see here. Kevin Williamson had an alternate ending that Stu was going to be alive in the flesh in Scream 7. Yes, he said he filmed a coda to, you know, basically it was going to be like a fake out, like where Stu's like, you know, a chair spins around and Stu's sitting there and he's like, I was really alive the whole time. And that would have been the movie, which would have been, I don't know. It might have been even better if that's how it ended. I probably would have preferred that, honestly, than how they ended it. At least it would have been more something. There would have been something there. Whereas the way it ended, it was just mom and daughter like shooting at Jessica, and their face is just, you know, falling off her face. And it's just, and then she's like, you know, like, I named you Tatum. Like they have a real heart-to-heart moment now that Jessica's face is on the ground. I named you Tatum because my friend Tatum a long time ago, she was very strong and smart. And what else she say?
She was very outspoken.
She was cool. She wore plaid skirts,
said what she
which is why
wanted.
she got killed. I don't know if you knew that. The rule is actually plaid shirts are killers and plaid skirts are the victims. So that's a rule in this franchise. Yeah, that whole scene was okay. So do you want me to read the first Stu clue and then you can go?
You go ahead, yeah.
Okay. So let's just start with the beginning of the movie of Scream 7. This is the scene where they're driving up to the Airbnb and you hear the podcast on the radio or whatever, where they're talking about Stu being spotted at the Scream 2 sorority party. And one host says, "Oh, that was never confirmed that Stu was there." And then another host says, "Oh, no, but it was confirmed." And then they get cut off and then the scene happens. What do you think about the clue?
I just don't. It doesn't have much substance to me because, okay, in the real world, we know that was just because Matthew Lillard was on set and he was dating Neve Campbell at the time. So Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven were like, just get in the background. End of story. Obviously,
this is what we would call an Easter egg.
Yes, exactly that.
It's something that the creators of the movie put in there as like a wink to the audience, like, oh, if you caught that, then you're in the know, kind of thing. It doesn't mean anything beyond that. It doesn't mean like, oh, so they confirmed Stu was really, guys. It's been said for years that Matthew Lillard just showed up on set because he was dating Neve Campbell at the time. That there's nothing more to it than that. Hey Jenny, so I'm gonna call that one weak.
Yes, I'm with you on that one completely.
Yeah. Okay, now you go.
Okay, so one theory that I have seen, which is actually one that annoys me a lot, is that people are saying that they think Stu is alive because of the AI calls, and that Stu was the first AI call, but not the 2 and 3, because you can see his scars in the first call, but you can't in the second and third, which you can very clearly see the scars in the second and the third. It's just different lighting and different distance from the camera. So I find that one quite frustrating because it's just right in front of you.
You pretty much said that's something I feel like is also a nuance that a lot of people miss when they look at certain things and they try to glean evidence from it. Like, look, he looks totally different here. Yeah, because the lighting changed. Like, look. Do you see how I look totally different now with the lighting like on my face? I look totally different now, don't I? That's what happens when you change the light. You know, when someone is lit a certain way, they literally look different, but they are not different. And so the indents of the scars don't appear similar because it's from a different angle and things are lit. You know, Chucky is a good example of this, actually. We wanted to talk about Chucky sometime. Did you know, I don't know if you knew this, that Chucky always has to be like lit a certain way in order to look convincing and, you know, the right way in a movie?
Which you can actually see in the movies themselves. You can see him in one scene looking completely different with his facial features and scars in some aspects than what he looked previously. I think it's, in all honesty, and I don't mean this to sound rude, it is laziness when you're thinking that way, because you're not thinking actually logically about the situation. So I
I
think
also
it's
think
quite
just
a weak
certain
one.
people, they don't have like the discerning eye. It's not that it's like, I think their imagination kind of gets ahead of their logic brain, and they don't really think things through very much. But and I will give them a little bit of credit, because they're like, look, it's a different angle. He looks, obviously this one's more shaky cam, this one's more steady, like head on, so that it looks different. Why is it different? That is interesting. I will give the Stuthers that. That's interesting evidence. Like, that could mean that he's alive. However, there's no other clues in the movie that would link that and make me think, oh, maybe that means he is alive. You know what I mean? From
100%.
what the movie tells us about those calls, all of them are AI. Whether it's shaky cam and in his face, or if it's set up on a table or something, they're all AI. There's zero hint that any of them are other than that. So I'm going to say it's weak.
I completely agree with that. And also, what doesn't make sense to me about that is, if Stu was alive, why would they need any AI calls at all? So if Stu really was the
Right.
person in the first call, why would they need to use AI in 2 and 3? Like
And
the second
you
and third.
also, you have to also think about this, right? If he was alive in those calls and the other ones were AI, does that mean he was working with Jessica and Carl and Marco? Like, was he like in the background again? Like, I'm so tired of that. Like, is he just a mastermind all the time, and he's so afraid to just show himself? Like, is he just playing like a 30-40 year game with Sydney? Like, I'm not touching you, not touching you. Like, that is just so stupid. If that's what's, if he finally comes out of the shadows and like, I was just fucking with you the whole time. Like, no, don't you fucking dare. That is insulting. That is, and it is so stupid if that's what ends
It
up
wouldn't
happening.
make sense.
Like, I just wanted to play around, Sid. No, come on. So yeah, like, it just, there's a lot of implications there that, and it's like, why didn't he just come out at the end then? Like, if that was the case,
Yeah.
it's just, none of it adds up.
No.
So let's move on to the next one. Yeah, so I had that one as number 2, actually. So cover that one. So yeah, and that and number 3 as well. Repeated Stu is alive. Mr. McHiller repeatedly appears as Stu. FaceTime. He's convincing. Okay, know that one already. Okay. Ben's analysis of the first call. It's because Ben, remember, he did the AI stuff. The AI Stu, to see if he could do it. Like, I just wanted to see if it was possible. Weird. They just did that to make him a red herring. That's all. That's the only reason they did that. Like, oh, is it really Ben? You know, it was just meant to make the audience think that. It was a stupid justification. Like, I just wanted to see if it was possible. Of course it's possible. But that's just dumb that they had him do that.
It was.
Let's see here. The video looks real. Shadows are consistent. Only analyzes the first call, not the later fake looking ones. Subtle reinforcement that one version may not be AI. So again, it's what this scene is doing. It's not a Stu clue, because this movie is trying to make you think Stu is alive. That's the whole point. That's why the records are gone. That's why, you know, he's not at the mental asylum when Ethan Embry's character says that he was. You know, he's a drifter. They're throwing so much at you to make you think he is alive that in the end it's revealed that he's not. And that's literally how they were leading with all the trailers. Like, oh, Stu's really alive. This is gonna be fun. Like that. All that stuff was making you think that Stu was still alive. Why don't I think that you're alive? Because you're dead, dude. Because you're dead. So yeah, that whole Ben thing, it had 2 functions. One, making you think that, you know, the Stu calls were real. And 2, to make him a red herring. That's it. Not real Stu clue. You got another one?
Yeah. So I do think that's quite weak, by the way. I agree with everything you have just said. The another one that I have seen, which again I'm finding really frustrating is when Jessica comes in to reveal herself. She doesn't open the gate, and the gate just opens, and people are saying, well, that was Stu opening the gate.
Wait, run that back by me again.
So, you know, in the final, in the reveal, so
Yeah.
Ethan Embry's character's like, isn't that right, Stu? And then the gate opens and Jessica walks in, but she doesn't open the gate because she's already standing there. So people are saying it would have been Stu Mocker opening the gate to let Jessica walk in. I know.
That's ridiculous.
Right? And
Hey, the flet from another world. Hey, okay,
Hey,
now I'm
Connor.
just gonna stand here while you walk in. I'm gonna be like, tee. I'm gonna be hiding in the shadows while you walk in. She's never gonna know I was here. Come
just
on,
doesn't make
guys. What are we
sense.
doing? That is so stupid. Like, is he like 12?
I know.
Like, I
I'm
remember
just
Stu was kind of like a ditzy kind of dude, you know? You
He
throw a
was very
phone at me,
playful.
dick. I remember, okay? But you got to really decide, is he like a mastermind cult leader or a 12-year-old? Let's settle this. Is he just playing like little kid pranks on people, or is he leading entire groups of people online and off, and he's some master leader with the hood and all of that? Let's decide now what he is.
Yeah. It just
If
doesn't
you're
make
gonna
sense.
be all into the Stu Clue shit and think all like he's leading the stuff, let's decide what his personality is first, because I don't even believe that he could have been a cult leader with his personality in the first movie.
It's
They
quite
imbue
unlikely.
him with all these traits that don't match up.
I agree with that. You see a lot of people really saying, oh, but he was really clever, but we don't actually see that clever side of him. You can have that opinion,
Right.
but there's no proof that he was that sort of clever character that, you know, could have plotted everything, because it was Billy that set the whole thing up. So
Right.
to me, he's
And then it
not
was
that
Roman,
leader.
and then it was Roman that set him up. And then
Exactly.
Roman said in Scream 3, get yourself someone like a patsy that you can blame all the shit on, right? Like a fall guy. And that was Stu.
Yeah.
Does that seem like a cult leader person to you? So
Exactly
in the canon of the first 3 movies, Stu is like this sociopathic dork kind of guy. So how does that match up with cult leader? You know, someone who can take charge. I think a lot of it is like people have like some kind of fascination or crush on Matthew Lillard as Stu Macher. And I think that plays into a lot of the theories of like putting him on this pedestal of thinking he's capable of all these things, not considering his character in that first movie.
They've definitely romanticized the character, and it's a little bit what's the word that I would like to use, which doesn't sound too offensive. I don't know. It's just it doesn't fit the narrative in the way that I see it in my point of view, and people might think my point of view is utter rubbish, but it just doesn't fit my logic.
It just doesn't align. It doesn't make sense with how the character was previously established. So
it doesn't.
Did you have one to read, or did I have one to read?
You have one to read.
Okay. Let's see here. The missing death records. So Sydney calls the coroner. Coroner's dead. Stu's death paperwork is missing. Uh-oh. The records were tampered with, or Stu was never processed as dead. They literally, again, they put that in the movie to make you think that Stu's alive or that he never died. And it's literally trying to convince you that Stu's alive. Like it's all setting up the final ending, which is that Stu's been dead the whole time, and that Jessica and Carl and Marco were the ones killing. And they're just trying to manipulate Sydney with all these AI things, and everything else is playing into that with the records. I mean, it all ties into it.
It does. And even Sydney says the line herself, like, you know, it's somebody's trying to cover up and make us believe that it's Stu. But people are taking the whole, oh no, they're missing, that's definitely Stu being alive. But Sydney basically just says it herself. Like, it's more logical that actually.
I like that she wasn't dumb enough to think, oh my God, Stu's alive. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't dumb her down. They're like, no, she knows this is bullshit, right? She knows someone's playing games.
Yeah.
And even though she knows that, they still play with the idea like, well, she could be wrong. Maybe it's setting her up to be wrong in the end. That's not terrible writing. Like, I can see the value of that, like giving you some doubt, making her think, well, maybe he is, maybe he's not. The mystery, that's the mystery of that movie, is not who did it, but is Stu alive or dead? Hey, Critical Overlord, welcome to the stream.
Welcome in.
He's one of my Scream compatriots that I follow on here. He'll never go on a panel though, because he's chicken shit. He's a pussy. I'm just kidding.
No, he's got a good thing going on his channel. He's
good. He's good.
Yeah.
But thanks for stopping in, bro. Obviously, real Stu is still alive. The scarred face was really him. The others were AI by the killers. Yeah, we already went over that before. We're not going to rehash that one and argue. They need to say that it was a lie when Jessica was shown to be the killer. Well, they did in so many words. That Marco said, like, you didn't actually think Stu was alive, did you? Because that would be dumb. Because he's dead. They literally threw that in Stu fans' faces. I thought that was funny. So yeah, the death, and let's say for the sake of argument, okay, let's humor these people that maybe the death paperwork was never filed, never processed. Okay. All right. Where does that lead? Is that it? Because that literally is just in the movie to make you think like, oh, could Stu be alive? It doesn't go anywhere, right? If these clues and hints went somewhere, if they somehow threaded into some other story point or something, I might be more convinced. But they're literally just in that scene to make Sydney think something, and then they're discarded.
Of course, and sort of saying that, if you go off that to say yes, those files are missing, he's alive, then you have to literally go with every single thing that has been said about Stu in that movie and say that, he's alive, and a lot of that stuff just does not make sense.
Sorry, continue.
No, you go ahead.
I'm rude. I interrupt a lot.
You're fine.
So here's the funny thing. When I was preparing, like I was doing content for this movie before it came out, like months before, I was theorizing of what they could do to maybe prove Stu was alive or, whatever. I thought maybe like Dewey would have more to do with the plot. And like he had leftover files from like back in the past that would reveal stuff about, Stu's death, or if he was alive still, or, what that would reveal about past people that we never got to know about. You know what I mean? Like, it would open up the door and we get to know more about like Woodsboro's history and its past and people who, victims and the families and stuff like that. And maybe you'd have flashbacks to things that, you know what I mean? Like, I thought they were going to be way more open about the history of what happened, that might give us more context and a deeper story, not just like, is dude alive or dead? Here's some AI. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was just going to be silly stuff like that. I thought they were going to actually take it a little seriously. I mean, people think this is a serious movie, but it's really not. It's kind of silly when you really think about it.
It's definitely got the more campy theme to it than a serious tone.
Yeah. So I said all that to say that I thought maybe they were going to reveal some of that old stuff, right? That would thread into like, did Stu die with the records? Are they missing? Where did they go? We could have learned all kinds of stuff, right? Maybe Sydney working closer with the police department. You know what I mean? Things like that. Investigative journalism, stuff like that. Like Gail could have been more involved. You know what I mean? But they didn't do any of that.
No, they didn't, which is disappointing.
Yeah, it felt kind of like a shallow on the surface kind of movie.
I do get that. I think one way that they could have really done well with would be to finally bring in Gail's footage. She's right there in the movie.
Right.
You know, she's right there saying, "Well, we know he's dead. Well, your footage is out there because Stab recreates everything very well to the
That's the
initial
hilarious
Scream."
thing. That's the hilarious thing. Whenever people bring up like, well, how did Jessica know that Stu said I always had a thing for you, Sid? Gail was recording the whole thing that night in the first movie, and everyone always forgets that.
Yeah.
Literally, she had multiple monitors set up in the van that was recording everything.
Yep.
Picking
People
up
just seem
audio.
to exactly that, and people just seem to they bring it up to say, well, you know, we could see that Stu was alive. Like Gail's footage is going to prove that Stu is alive, but it's like actually Gail's footage is out there, whether you like to admit that or not, because of Scream
Right.
5. When you see Stab, we know that footage has been reviewed. Do you really think that it would be a secret?
Right. If the footage had gotten out, well, then this I know what they would say. The footage was edited though. It was highly edited, and they left a part. There's like the Stu cut. The Stu cut of the Gale footage needs to be released now because they left
They'll
that part.
always find a way.
It's hidden somewhere in a safe somewhere. Sydney has to find the combination to the safe to find the Stu cut. You know, all kinds of ridiculous shit. It's off topic. Wasn't there a shot of VHS tape in one of the TikTok teasers or something? Was there?
Do you know what? The marketing there was a lot of marketing for this movie that
Yeah.
It all sort of blends into one that I can't quite pin that, to be honest.
Yeah, there was a lot that was in the trailer that wasn't shown in the final movie. There was a lot in the marketing that wasn't shown in the final movie. They toyed around a lot with the audience's expectations of this movie. And I don't feel like that was all intentional. I feel like some of that stuff was leftover plot lines that they were thinking of adding into the movie, but didn't. Like the Stu stuff. A lot of yeah. Gail apparently had hidden cameras in the high school too, because that Stab clip with Tori Spelling and Luke Wilson. I don't know. You also have to understand a lot of the books were written right about this stuff. They probably interviewed people.
Yeah.
They probably, Sydney was interviewed. She wrote a book. I mean, how many goddamn books and movies did they make in this universe that would convince you, like, hey, maybe they filled in a lot of the blanks or asked questions of stuff that happened that night, and they got a pretty good idea. You know what I mean?
I
don't know. That whole line of like, I always had a thing for you, Sid. I think maybe she probably would have included that in her book.
100%, 100%.
Like I could see her writing a passage like, I'll never forget those words he said to me. I always had a thing for you, Sid, and I never, I never felt more like a victim in my life. Whatever the hell she wrote in that book. The point is, she wrote about all that stuff that happened. So,
agreed.
Okay.
I do agree.
Next thing, did you?
Was that? I think it's you. Is it you?
Again?
Yeah. I think. Hang on, no, I don't know. Which one have we just done? I think we've just done. I mean, I'm happy to go again.
Go again. I don't know. I don't think you did one.
Another one that I've seen people saying is the whole burning down of the Mocha house proves that Stu is alive, because we never really heard anything about it since. Now, whilst I agree it wasn't really delved into as much, Jessica did say in her reveal that, she was just basically starting a new legacy, refreshing everything, which would, when you look into it, explain why the house was burnt down. But because it wasn't said, I burnt the house down because I want to start a new legacy, people are like, well, Stu burnt the house down because he wanted to show Sydney that he was actually on his way to her and that he was coming for her. I just think that.
I have to just say something right here, because this is where a lot of the problems with the movie start to come about, because I'll just say, as a general rule, a Scream movie is only as good as the motive. of the final killer. And I'm probably going to get some pushback over that. Like, some people don't think motives matter. Like, who cares? Motives are incidental. Get it? No, but when you really think about it, the philosophy of the killer plays in heavily to who they kill in the movie, how they kill them, what narrative they're using to kill these people, how they're attacking or manipulating Sydney. All of that plays in together into the motive. Okay. Now, what you just said for Jessica, she's like, she's trying to restart the legacy or whatever. What was that? Okay. Then she's trying to redo the trauma that Sydney went through with her daughter, and trying to restart the Sydney Prescott with a new girl, new final girl. Okay. Then she also is in love with her and was mad that she skipped out on Scream 6 because she didn't get paid enough. Okay. Is there anything else? Oh, and then also I just decided to use Stu Macher kind of randomly because I knew he went at you back in the past, and I thought you'd be scared of that. So we got these 4 disconnected things, right? That don't really mesh together. And that's why to me that motive and that reveal felt so convoluted. And the amount of time that they gave all that to just be fleshed out at the end is so stunted, and so you did not give it nearly enough time to breathe, that it just felt like sloppy and rushed. And I was like, I get what they were trying to do, but you did it so slapdash and haphazard that it totally fell on its face.
Again, for me, the lead up to Jessica and Marco's reveal with the AI is really what ruined that. If they hadn't have put that in, they would have had 2, maybe 3 minutes of explanation of the motive of the 2 characters, which would have actually felt more satisfying than seeing a washed up Dewey who looked terrible, Mrs. Loomis, Roman and Stu again. It felt so just really off. That whole reveal could have done without any of that, because it didn't even work on Sydney anyway. She knows that that's not them. She knows that's not real. So it felt a bit like a waste of time. If they had had those few minutes, it was
pointless. She knew, she could see right through it. It's like, why did you even do it then? And then that's also like you were saying with the burning the Stu house down. There was a reason for that, but it was so disconnected from the motive that it felt random. And that's the problem. Like, I'm sure there was a cohesive motive in this movie, but it felt so underdeveloped.
Yeah, they could have, what I've taken away from it, Jessica wanted to burn down the house so she could have a new house for the trauma to all be in, and to start off this new legacy with Tatum being this new final girl. But it just needed that explanation of that just a little bit more, not a quick one line of, well, I'm restarting the legacy. I like the motive, but I don't like the way that the motive was.
Execution.
Yeah. It's not the worst motive to me, but it's not a great execution of it.
Hey, Sydney, I know you're just kind of living your life and minding your own business, but I'm going to burn down Stu Macher's house 7,000 miles away from you. I know you're going to get really triggered over it. Isn't that goofy? That is so goofy to me.
It's just needed explanation. It really did.
See, and this is also a part of the problem of moving this whole thing to Indiana. It's like they're not even in Woodsboro anymore. I don't know. Anyway,
no, I get that.
Okay, I'll guess one now. I'll do one now. Oh, we didn't even do our thing with the system of compelling.
Well, for me, that's a very weak one. They're
all weak. They're all weak. Exactly. None of these are really truly compelling. Let's see. The John Doe patient at the hospital. So Marco, he said that there was a John Doe. He had facial injuries consistent with Stu. This suggests Stu may have survived and been institutionalized. Was Marco telling the truth? Was he lying? Well, he admits he was lying in the end, but he could have been covering for Stu Macher. Hey, I make videos. Welcome. Well, I'm gonna say for this one, Yeah, he could have been lying. I mean, clearly he's not a trustworthy person, right? He has lied in the past. We know we can't trust Marco to tell the truth, right? However, I want to invoke a Scream rule here. The Scream rule is that the killers are completely fucking honest once the masks are taken off. That is immutable. Every Scream killer, and the reason they're so honest is because they think they're going to get away with it, right? They think this is it. We're going to kill Sydney. She's going to be dead. 2 minutes later, poof, right? Shot in the head. But they're all cocky as hell. They all think they're going to get away with it. And so that's when they have a chance to be honest. Now, you could also argue, I can already see the argument, that Marco was still lying just to protect Stu, because protecting Stu at all costs. He's our leader. Okay. Sure. I don't know. Again, that's just, you could say that, but there's no evidence that would confirm that's a thing or that there's even a group. Now, what is interesting is in Scream 5, which is Guy Busick written, so he's putting all these Stu clues in there. When in the beginning, when he's talking to Tara on the phone, he says, I know your mother Christina from Group. Now, some people are saying Group was the cult group that Stu's running, and that was Stu on the phone because he got mad that Tara didn't get Stu Macher with the original killers of Woodsboro, right? And so this all alludes to him being in control of all this, and he's, who the fuck knows, right? But that at least has a little bit more substance to it. Like, okay, he did mention Group. Why would he just say Group randomly? And why would he get mad about, that Tara didn't remember Stu Macher? I mean, but clearly these clues were put in by Guy Busick on purpose just to stir up the Stu controversies. Why would they lie about it? Stu changed his mind. Right. Why would they lie about him being dead? You mean? I don't know. Maybe he wasn't planning on coming out at all. He just wanted to fuck with Sydney the whole time, right? Like, I'm doing devil's advocate here, okay? With these Stuthers. Like, I'm guessing they would think, oh, he's just fucking with her the whole time and he didn't want to come out yet. Maybe this was his way of just, a preview of things to come, right? He's coming in the next movie, right? That's what they're thinking. That was a big mistake Sid missed, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, with everything that these Stu truthers and Stu believers have to throw at us with, this is a Stu clue, there's always something to combat that. Because obviously, like the example you just gave, for instance, with it being Group, well, Amber even says that Tara and Sam's mom is a drunk, so Group is obviously going to be, when you look at it logically, is going to be AA kind of situation. And I don't think that, I think that conversation happened as well with Tara before Tara forgot about Stu Macher being the killer. So again, when people throw that, it's like, well, that doesn't make sense because that happened after. So why would he say that to get under Tara's skin, if that makes sense? But there's always something you can use to combat these arguments. But I think what I do find is that Stu truthers are very passionate people. They will, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, they will defend that until the cows come home. They literally will be, no, Stu's alive. And no matter what is said to say Stu is dead, Stu's alive in their opinion. So they're always going to come back with, proof, quote marks, that he is alive. And I don't think it's ever going to die with that respect. I don't think Kevin Williamson helped himself by saying that he did that coda.
No.
But I think people also missed that in the same interview, he said that when he contacted Matthew Lillard, he did advise that Stu was dead. So people pick and choose, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, what they like to put as this proof out there, which comes stewing on.
I like that. I just hope he stays dead. They already retcon a lot with Scream 5 and 6. I just hope they don't retcon Stu's death. Yeah, you could tell they were very hesitant to change that because they didn't want to disrespect that first movie, right? Neither Guy Busick nor Kevin Williamson. They like to toy with the idea of bringing him back without actually really doing it. Did you hear Kevin say that Jessica was at that book signing for Out of Darkness and Scream 4?
I haven't heard that.
Okay, sure. We can do anything we want with hindsight, right? Yeah, Jessica was there. She wasn't even a character yet. Hey, Mr. Sardine. They could say whatever they want, right? They could just say it, and it's like, okay, well, do we have any confirmation of it? Do we have any proof of it? No. So
exactly
that's what's known as, and he's he wrote that movie. He could say that, but he wasn't thinking of Jessica 15 years ago or whatever.
Jessica's not even his character.
Right.
It's Guy Busick and the other guy.
Right. Like that is the purest form of a fan wank that I've heard a director say. He wrote that movie, and I'm still going to consider it a fan wank because you can't retroactively fit a character from now to 15 years ago when they were never created. Like, don't shut up. Batman was exciting too.
I did see Batman there. I did see Batman there. I'm not going to
lie. Okay. Do you want to have another clue?
I'm just trying to think. Oh yeah, this is the other one that I had. This is actually one of the last ones that I do have. It's actually been something since the trailers, and I've seen it continue afterwards. So when Carl, or what we assume is Carl, is attacking in the house and he's stabbing through the walls, just before he stabs on the walls, he taps on the walls with the knife, which is seen in the first Scream. So people are saying, well, then that must be Stu, because it was Stu who did that on the car window. But actually, we don't know if that was Billy or Stu, because that's not confirmed. But people are using that to say, well, the knife use, that's Stu. Well, there's many ways you can use a knife, and I'm sure many people would like to tap on the wall with a knife to intimidate people like that.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of those clues before where they're like, Stu holds the knife up like this, and Billy does like this. I guess Billy's Puerto Rican or something. I don't know. So okay. The different ways, and then here's what what is your Stuthers? What is your answer to this? In Scream 6, they both do the knife wipe. Huh? What, did Stu teach him that? Now do the knife wipe like this. Trust me, it scares the shit out of him. Like, what are we doing here?
Make them think I've got a clone. Like, it's like, no.
There's this, and then there's this. How many other methods of stabbing? Like do like this? Like, haha! Like swordsman? Ooh,
Three Musketeers.
Yeah, like how many more ways of stabbing people are there that are so unique to someone? I don't get it. I haven't seen anyone complain about her other daughters being at grandma's randomly during the school year. Did that not make sense to anyone? Yeah, it's just because they didn't want the kids in the movie. They just didn't want to give them added roles and like stuff to do. They didn't want to put little kids in danger, right? They're going to give them time to grow up. And here's what's going to happen. Tatum's going to be in college next time in Scream 8. And then the other girl's going to be like 16. And she's like, Mom, I can grow up if I want to and have a party. And then Tatum's going to be like, no, you have to be careful. And it's going to be like a Tara and what's her face? Sam situation again. That's the most predictable thing ever. I can already see it coming.
Yeah, I do think that's the way they're going to go.
Yeah, the whole knife thing is weak. It's not.
It is weak.
Are we thinking Stu is like some kind of like master knifesman or something? Like that he has a style?
Yeah, it doesn't add up to me, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, it's just, that's weak. Marco recognizes Stu from a photo. Yeah, because that's the whole point. He's lying about Stu being alive. Of course he's gonna be like, yeah, of course I reckon. Because he did it. He did the AI.
I think that's probably the weakest one I've ever heard, if I'm honest with
Yeah.
you.
Pretty weak. You can just bypass that one. Let's see here. Yeah, we know the alternate ending. Is there anything else? Any other Stu clues that like are major in this movie?
The only other ones that I know of or that I've seen are from the trailer, not the movie itself. So they wouldn't really necessarily stand, I guess.
He doesn't even say this is going to be fun in the movie. He just says it in that trailer, and then they used it like a million more times in other trailers.
Yeah, it didn't make sense that they did that to me.
It wasn't even all that fun either. I haven't seen anyone complain about her other. Oh, I already read that. What am I doing? You don't have any other Stu clues?
I actually don't have any other Stu clues. Some of them you mentioned, so we've kind of like doubled up there.
Okay. Are there any? So I got a bunch of Stu clues from other movies too. Do you want to go over any of them?
Yeah, I'm happy to do whatever.
Okay, let's go over the most basic Stu clue that there is. If you had to name the most basic one, and when I say Stu clue, I mean reasonable doubt that he's still alive. What would you say?
For me, probably that he didn't get shot in the head. This is the thing that people always go back to.
And the TV didn't kill him. And basically everyone in this universe is invincible until they get shot in the head. Which
is pure bull.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
That's
theory.
It's ridiculous, and it boils this franchise down to being like some kind of like video game. It's like, well, they don't get a game over until you get shot in the head. Like, what are we talking about? The people can die from things all the time that have nothing to do with getting shot in the head. That first movie was just toying with your expectations. It's not making an ironclad rule of the entire franchise. Now it is, again, they bring it up sometimes, like you got to shoot him in the head, like they did in the second one, the third one. But again, those are like more like
they're the situation that that character's in at the time.
It's a rule that Randy just said to make you kind of doubt that Billy was really dead.
I don't even think he actually even mentioned about shooting them in the head. It was just, he's just said, careful, this is when the killer comes back for one last kill.
Yes.
And then Sidney just shot him in the head. It actually didn't even really get mentioned until Scream 3, when Sidney was shouting to Dewey to shoot Roman in the head because Roman was wearing a bulletproof vest. And that's the only reason why she said it. And then 5 ran with that.
I love how he just kept like coming back with the knife. Like he just gets knocked back like 2 inches, like and he just keeps coming back. It's like you got to shoot him in the head, just really stop him. I'm pretty sure if you got shot, even if you had a bulletproof vest, it would hurt like hell. You probably get knocked to the floor. You wouldn't just be like ah. You'd be like, ow, ooh, I want to stab you, but this really fucking hurts. Stu cloned himself, and there were 2 Stus in Scream 6.
That's the most convincing theories I've heard.
That's very convincing. That's compelling, as we say. Compelling evidence. Okay. The TV on the head, to me, I think that's enough to kill someone. I'm not saying that it would automatically kill someone every time, but also, like, they keep saying that he held his hands up and that cushioned the fall and the TV like crushed and so that would mean he's not really dead because it took some weight off. Okay, but he got electrocuted, glass in his face. He was
already bleeding.
He was already bleeding out. And then the other narrative that people say, like, oh, this is a pure fan wank. I have never seen any proof of this. His parents, they found him and they hid him away and they put him in a mental institution. They locked him up and they bribed the town to look the other way. Like, where are you getting this from? You just made this up out of your mind. There's no evidence to support that at all. We don't see his parents bribing people in the movie. We don't see, them, the police being bought or whatever. There's no, and where's this evidence that they're so rich? Okay, they live in California. They had a nice house. They probably have some money. But does that mean that they're going around bribing the town and like policemen? Like, where is this evidence for this?
Exactly.
Randy said it in his videotape in 3. Oh, the shot. Which part?
Shot in the head, I think is what he's on about.
Yeah, and then they also will bring a part up where he said in that video, like, in a trilogy, the third one in the movie, it makes you like, realize that something from the beginning was never true to begin with. Hint: Stu's alive. Clearly, this had to do with Roman, and we didn't know that he was the one who influenced the events of Scream 1. That's what that had to do with.
Agreed.
Roman had that voice changer technology 25 years earlier. I was one of the first people to point that out. Like, everyone's talking about the AI stuff, and then I'm like, Roman already had this shit in Scream 3. Like, he already was doing the voice changer thing that cloned people's voices perfectly. So maybe it was CIA technology, and the same people behind him also helped hide Stu. CIA is getting involved now. Oh my god. The government's hiding Stu in Area 52. Area 50 Stu, more like, right?
It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
If there were clues in the movie or throughout the franchise, let's say, that were, backed up that his parents are those kind of people, or backed up any other theory that people just make up at the top of their heads, I could be like, yeah, okay, I can see that. But a lot of these theories are just people pulling it out of thin air, sort of fan fiction.
Wank.
Yeah.
Fan fiction, fan wank. A fan wank, do you know what that is?
I'm guessing it's something to please the fans, maybe, or just like...
No, it is basically a fan explanation for something that is a mystery in a piece of fiction. So, like, if we want to explain, like, how Stu survived, well, his parents paid people off, and that's why they put him in a mental institution, and the cops look the other way. That's a fan wank. Pure, just manufactured. They made it to make sense to fit their theory, but there's zero evidence to prove it. Fan wank.
I like that. I'm going to start using that now.
Go for it. Take it. It's free. Let's see here. Yeah, that was a heavy ass TV and electrocuted him. And listen, if he was alive in that movie, here's the only time I would give Stu Thurs a point. Only time is if he pulled a Michael Myers and his body was gone. I'm saying if somehow that first movie, when Sydney, like, all the stuff happens, she kills Stu, cops come or whatever, she looks back, Stu's body's gone, then you might be onto something.
Agreed.
But that didn't happen.
No.
Right? The way that it ended was very conclusive. The killers were killed. Everyone was taken away in, like, ambulances and stuff. That's it. End of story. There's nothing else to it. I heard first Stu in the movie is legit, but the rest was AI. That's people's just fan wanking. They're just saying that that's what happened. I mean, I can see how they could come to that conclusion, especially if it's something that would fit your idea of Stu being alive, but there's no real evidence to that. And if he was real, why didn't he just come out?
Exactly that. Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and it's even stupider if he was alive. And it's like, so he just didn't want to. Does he have social anxiety? Does he not want to meet up? Like, what's the deal? You telling me he's a cult leader who's leading hundreds of people online and offline to kill people, but he's afraid to meet the love of his life, Sidney Prescott. Wait, what? This person
Doesn't add
above me
up.
is digging my clone theory. The clone theory. Yeah. Stu's got a clone. That's it. Not a twin brother, a clone.
A clone. Okay.
Clone
Makes
Stu.
perfect sense.
Okay, sure. I'll believe it, I guess. So I don't know. Is that kind of it? Did we discuss most of it?
We did, I believe.
I want to leave a lot of other stuff for like maybe Friday. I don't want to talk
That's
about
fair.
all the Stu clues today. You're free to come Friday to talk more about the stuff. I'll have another guy up here. He's again, he points out all the Stuthers and makes fun of them and stuff. So
Sounds like my kind of person.
You'll be in good company. So should be fun. I'll get in touch and we'll, I'll tell you when it streams out and stuff.
Sounds good.
Again, this is horror. I have kind of a difficult time saying your name. Horror. This is her link. Go subscribe to Horror. She makes good content, and yeah, it was good having you on. Thank you so much for chatting with me about Stu clues and debunking.
Thank you for
stuff.
having me.
It was fun.
It was.
So I'm gonna
apologies for my mic.
No, it's good. It was just way too cranked loud for some reason. It's good now. It's fine now. Okay, well, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for joining me, Horror, and
thank you for having me.
I will see y'all next time. Have a good night.
Take care, guys.